Hi, my name's Danny Fleming of MA Properties Real Estate. So, topic today, when is walkthrough? So, it's how long is a piece of string? It depends. It needs to be, one of the first criteria really, is it needs to be after the sellers have moved out. Um, there are various uncommon occurrences where, say, for instance, the seller has rented back the home and then the buyers need to do a walkthrough while the seller's still living there, but they're not very common. So I'm going to not even discuss those at this point in time. But walkthrough can be anywhere from an hour before closing to a day before closing to a week before closing. It's after the sellers have moved out. So walkthrough is typically where the buyers, what the buyers are looking to do is walk through the home and just ensure that the home is in the same condition that as it was when they made an offer on a home. Sometimes, as part of an inspection, the seller has agreed to fix certain things. So that's a valid check just to make sure that the things that the seller said that they were going to get fixed have been done. And also the sellers have to provide those receipts at closing, by closing as well. So it's just verifying that the home is in the condition that you expect it to be. Now, things like there's lots of trash around. The home, and if the listing agent is doing their job with the seller, they're explaining to them what walkthrough is all about as well. Walkthrough, your home needs to be in broom clean condition. That's the phrasing, broom clean condition. It doesn't mean you need to get a professional cleaner in to clean the home. It needs to be in broom clean condition. Sometimes buyers, as the first thing that they do is get a cleaner in to clean the home to their standards. But there can't be stuff in the attic that was there when you bought the home. You should have asked for that to be removed when you did your walkthrough as a seller. So you can't leave debris behind or things that you don't want. You can't do that. All of your belongings need to be removed from the property. All of your trash needs to be removed from the property. I once had a buyer, this was years ago, but the home had a wooded area in the backyard and they didn't want the firewood. So the seller had to remove the firewood, which is really crazy, but that's okay. It could be garden ornaments. I had some buyers that didn't want the garden ornaments that were left around the home, so the seller had to remove the garden ornaments. Some buyers would like those sorts of things left behind. Part of those sorts of questions, well, first off, there should be an inclusion exclusion list that was signed by the buyers and by the sellers as to what was going to be included with the home and what's going to be excluded. Sometimes garden ornaments and those sorts of things aren't specified in an agreement because you just think that they stay. But if, as a seller, you're wondering, should I leave the extra tiles that were done on, in the bathroom? Or should I leave the extra shingles that were the roofing shingles that were done? Should I leave the extra paint? I just painted the home. Should I leave the extra paint behind? Those questions need to be raised with the buyers before walkthrough, because the buyer is well within their rights to require them to be gone. And it's an awful lot easier to remove those things as part of your moving out process than it is if it's an hour before, if the walkthrough's an hour before closing, and then people are scrambling trying to figure out, well, the attorneys are scrambling trying to figure out what will keep the buyer happy, do we do a holdback, all of those sorts of things. So when is walkthrough? Depends. After the sellers move out and sometime before closing. That can be I can't be any more accurate than that, but hopefully that's sort of given you a little bit of an idea of the types of things that the buyers are going to be looking for at walkthrough. Oh, I should throw in another one. This has caused consternation before as well. Let's say you've had a TV mounted on the wall and you're taking the wall mount down, and there's lots of big holes in the walls. This caused a huge problem with us, with my buyers, understandably. Gosh, it's got to be 12, 13 years ago. First off, we went to do walkthrough. The sellers were still there. We had to come back. Then we came back a second time. Sellers are still there. This is an hour before closing, mind you. And those times were agreed upon, but the sellers, anyway, sometimes it can go horribly wrong. But when the sellers finally moved out, we finished, we got in, and there were all these huge holes all over the home where wall-mounted TVs had been taken down, or some other sort of fixture that was heavy had been taken off the walls, and there were big gaping holes. That's how I know, because the attorneys fought about this. A wall needs to be repaired, but it doesn't need to be painted. So long as you've spackled those holes, you don't have to have painted them. You don't have to have sanded them back. So long as there's walls have been spackled, then that constitutes you having prepared the home for walkthrough. So there's a whole lot of different components associated with challenges that we've had during walkthroughs. If you'd like to chat about it and you've got an experience that I didn't mention, let me know, because I'd love to collect all of the different types of issues that have had. Oh, yeah, all of it. Just thought of another one. The buyers were coming to do walkthrough, but the sellers hadn't moved yet. They didn't know they had to move by closing. But anyway, that's another one. So I'd love to hear your stories as well. Anyway, look, if you've got anything that you can share with me, please let me know. My contact info is following, and have a great day.